Now at 6 o'clock, Cathedral students and alumni are hoping their voices are heard. The changes they were hoping they've inspired after a powerful prayer circle on Thursday. And a local church is asking for help after they were targeted by criminals. The big project ahead after someone stole thousands of dollars worth of gifts intended for people of Indianapolis this coming Christmas. Thanks for starting your morning with us here on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Nicole Griffin. Meredith Barrick has the morning off, but I'm joined by Storm Team 6 meteorologist Todd Claassen. And Todd, this weekend you're going to want to have the water close by, the sunscreen. It's going to be hot.
You know, last weekend, Saturday, was kind of cloudy. You know, temperatures were in the 80s, but didn't feel like that with the lack of sunshine. Well, we're making up for all those bad weekends previously this month, this weekend, with a lot of summer-like weather. So start making those outdoor plans now. As far as this morning, here's the view from downtown to the north. Way off in the distance there, some high, thin, fair weather clouds, and that is just about it. Otherwise, it's a mostly sunny day for us here today. And temperatures this morning are sitting in the 60s and 70s. 65s are normal low this time of year, so we're kind of on par for average in Greencastle, a little bit above average in Indy, Richmond at 70 degrees as well, and then upper 60s to the north. But radar is quiet. It's a dry morning commute for you. Have the sunglasses handy. These storms that you see to the north, they will not dive down to the south. Previously, like last week and in the week before, a lot of these storms were dropping down and giving us that heavy rain. That will not be the case here throughout the day today. So from this morning, we'll climb through the 70s into the afternoon hours. Into the 80s we go, probably already by 10, 11 o'clock this morning. And then high temperatures eventually will continue to climb all the way up into the mid to upper 80s later on this afternoon. Elena.
All right, thank you, Todd. The good news is no major problems out there on the roadways right now. Here's a look on the north side, 465 Michigan Road. Now, we've been seeing this area get backed up the last couple of days. So the good news is you can see it's smooth sailing if you're heading out the door right now. Let's take a look at the map. We have a ramp closure. This northbound 65 ramp to State Road 267 is closed. This should wrap up any minute. So if you're watching this right now, you should be in the clear if you are heading out the door and plan to use that way. But just in case, you can continue on northbound I-65. Take this Whitestown Parkway exit, go westbound over to State Road 267. So plan ahead with this if it is part of your drive. We also have some overnight lane restrictions eastbound and westbound 465 near I-69. The good news, no major traffic impacts with that right now. Let's hope it wraps up pretty soon.
Elena, thank you. We're working to learn more this morning about an apartment fire on the city's east side. The fire started around 10:30 last night at the Stony Brook Commons apartments on Redskin Lane. Investigators say 2 apartments on an upper level are damaged. One person was taken to the hospital with injuries. However, the severity of their injuries aren't known. As soon as we get more information, we'll bring it to you on the RTV6 app. The Archbishop of Indianapolis is defending the choice to fire a teacher in a same-sex marriage, but students and alumni of Cathedral High School, where that teacher was employed, are not giving up, holding a peaceful protest over the decision. Our Alyssa Donovan is live this morning. Alyssa, the Archbishop says the issue is not that the teacher is gay, but that he chose to get married.
That's right. So the Archbishop says that the church teaches marriages between one man and one woman. Now, he says that this issue is not about the individual's orientation, but rather the situation is about church teachings that are contrary, or a situation that is contrary to church teaching. So students and alumni of Cathedral High School gathered for a peaceful protest yesterday afternoon. The supporters say they want the church to change its mandates for Catholic school employees. Students also say they are not against the Archdiocese, but want to work with them on this issue. The Archbishop and Catholic school superintendent spoke about the situation before the demonstration, saying it is a privilege, not a right, to work and serve in the Catholic schools, noting that when someone signs the ministerial language, good faith is assumed.
When someone is not living according to church teaching, as Archbishop Thompson explained, we do try to walk with them. We try to give them the information that they need in terms of the church teaching, and then also the spiritual guidance and direction, as well as opportunities to rectify their personal situation.
Cathedral announced the firing just days after the Archdiocese announced it's cutting ties with Brebeuf High School for refusing to fire a teacher who's married to a man. 2 Roncalli teachers also have filed complaints saying their jobs were put in jeopardy because of their same-sex marriages. Now, the superintendent says that the Catholic schools have also taken action against other employees when it comes to in vitro fertilization, as well as getting a divorce before an annulment. They say that those are also against the Archbishop Archdiocese employment contract. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. We have comprehensive coverage of this developing debate. It's up right now on the RTV6 app and the IndyChannel.com. That includes everything Archbishop Thompson said Thursday, along with all of our past stories, so you can gain even more perspective on this issue. Investigators say a standoff with a man accused of raping and kidnapping a woman ended with the suspect committing suicide. Authorities surrounded Paul Etter's vehicle for hours after Lebanon police officers spotted it Thursday afternoon on State Road 39 near 300 North. The car had been reported stolen. When officers pulled Etter over, he showed a gun leading to the standoff. The Boone County Sheriff says no one else was hurt. Investigators had been looking for Etter since Saturday after he allegedly abducted a woman who had a flat tire on the side of the road in Tippecanoe County. This morning, Metro Police are investigating 2 police chases that ended in deadly crashes. Both incidents happened within just hours of each other. IMPD says a short chase on the east side had a deadly ending. The chase started at 21st and Sherman Thursday morning. That's where an officer spotted an erratic driver. The officer chased the driver to 21st and Dearborn, where the suspect crashed into a pole. The impact of the crash caused the power pole and the suspect's car to catch fire. Live ammunition going off inside the car forced the officer to take cover. The suspect died at the scene. And shortly before that, 1 person was killed and 2 others are hurt after a chase on the west side ended in a crash. It began Wednesday night when an officer tried to pull over a vehicle near North Bellevue Place and West Ohio Street. Police say the officer eventually turned off lights and sirens, but later found that vehicle flipped over near West Michigan Street and North Grand Avenue. Officers say that car had been stolen. A one-of-a-kind holiday event for families in need might not be the same this year after thousands of dollars in bikes, toys, and electronics were stolen from an Eastside church. Someone targeted a storage pod owned by Church 52. The church uses that pod behind a shopping mall in Brookville Road to provide a Merry Christmas for hundreds of Indianapolis families. A criminal made off with $10,000 worth of gifts awaiting those local families for this Christmas. Church officials say they're going to work to replace all that they can and install security cameras. If you'd like to help, Church 52 says donating money is best so they can get deals on the best gifts. All the information you need is on our website, theindychannel.com. A court case in Columbus could impact your ability to get information about those in power. Kristen Brown filed a lawsuit against the city after requesting a police report about a crash involving law enforcement in 2016 and not getting much of the information back. This month, a special judge ruled the police department violated the Access to Public Records Act. Brown hopes the ruling sends a message to government that they should be open and transparent.
The public access laws are only means to hold government accountable. Think of the tremendous power those elected officials have, especially law enforcement officials.
The special judge opted not to issue a $100 civil penalty against the police department, saying they did not act in bad faith. The Columbus City attorney says police did provide a copy of the police report during the course of the lawsuit. The city can still appeal the judge's ruling. It is 6:08 and you're saying, Todd, how does it feel? It feels hot.
Yeah, it feels warm out there. The humidity is up a little bit. So this is what we'll call the stickiness scale. And I got a label feeling just great, comfortable, getting sticky, very muggy. Well, we're kind of on the border of getting sticky to very muggy here this afternoon. The humidity is out there. You'll notice it. There's no doubt about that, but you're not really getting into that tropical-like feel today or that Florida-like feel in the middle of summer where it's just that instant sweat when you walk out the door. So yeah, it's warm and it's a little bit on the muggy side, so the pool will be a great place to be. Your pool forecast very similar to yesterday, partly cloudy skies, 84 degrees already by the noon hour with our high temperature today getting up to 89 degrees. The UV index is very high. Your burn time today is about 15 to 20 minutes, so make sure you, 1, stay hydrated if you're going to be out and about, and 2, if you're heading to the pool or a lake, make sure you have plenty of sunscreen on throughout the day today. Nicole?
Todd, thank you. Coming up on Hiring Hoosiers, local organizations targeting young adults disengaged from school and the workforce, how they're changing their mindset and skills. And drivers in Franklin Township are no strangers to construction headaches. Just ahead, our Elena Martella is taking a closer look at all of the work that's underway. It's 6:09. You're watching Good Morning Indiana. We'll be right back.
Stars and Stripes event at Ashley Home Store.
Hiring Hoosiers is an RTV6 initiative aimed at connecting Hoosiers to the tools and resources available to take the next step to further your education and career goals. The Pivot Re-Engagement Center on the Far East Side is targeting young adults that are disengaged from school or the workforce and attempt to work with them through different available resources. Amanda Starantino shows us how the Power Huddle is preparing young adults to connect skills with passions and workforce needs.
Right now, I call this the redemption stage. I've had a lot of bad things going on, but I'm trying to right it by using all the resources I can get.
Tamia Lewis is finishing up her week-long Power Huddle course at the Pivot Re-Engagement Center located at the Finish Line Boys and Girls Club on the Far East Side.
I came in here to help my boyfriend, and I was going to leave, but it seemed interesting, so I kept coming back. The fact that it seems like there's a lot of positives, it seems like they're very determined to help the youth. It seems like they really care and they don't want to see people down in life. So I was like, this is something I can use.
This 5-day course is here because of a partnership between Employ Indy, Finish Line Boys and Girls Club, and the Community Alliance of the Far East Side. The Power Huddle is a bridge program to help young adults advance their life goals, whether that be getting a GED, getting into a trade school, enrolling in college, or finishing a high school equivalency. Tim Swain facilitates these sessions.
The Power Huddle helps them to go from what's oftentimes a fixed mindset to a growth mindset that enables them to learn, okay, what are the things that I need to know in order to position myself to take advantage of the resources available in my city so I can just, accelerate and advance my life goals.
Throughout the week, participants of this Power Huddle will do different activities to help with their job development plans, like these vision boards where they're quite literally laying out their goals right in front of them.
So at the end of the day, if we can help young individuals get jobs, get trades, and become, to have a skill set where they can engage in systems right now to help stop the cycles of poverty, stop the cycles of, sometimes crime and what may have you, then all we're going to do is just help our city become a stronger city that we want it to become ultimately.
Tamia is looking forward to advancing her career and learned a few things here that will help her reach her goals.
Sometimes you just got to dig deeper to figure out why you're stuck where you are and learn how to get out of that pit. After this, I'm going to keep in contact with them, hopefully get a mentor, finish my college, hopefully get my degree in accounting. So after this program, I definitely plan on doing a lot.
In Indianapolis, I'm Amanda Starantino, RTV6 News.
Amanda, thank you. Out-of-school youth ages 16 to 24 are eligible to take advantage in the Power Huddle at the Pivot Re-Engagement Center. It is free with no cost associated. Participants will do a one-week course that runs from 10 a.m. to noon. And once they complete the course, there are other resources to help pivot the individuals involved to stay on the right path to reach their education and career goals. For more information on how to get involved, head to our website, hiringhoosiers.com. That is where you can also find all of our other Hiring Hoosiers stories. Franklin Township residents are no stranger to construction. Right now, a number of the most traveled intersections are closed while roundabouts are being built. Our Elena Martella joins us with what you need to know about all this work underway in the area. Elena.
Well, hey there, Nicole. The main thing you need to know about these closures are the detours, which add a lot of extra time to your travel, and depending upon the hour, a lot of extra congestion. So take a look at all of this traffic during the evening rush. Right now, the intersections of Arlington Avenue and Edgewood Avenue, as well as the intersection of Franklin Road and Edgewood Avenue, are closed. So detour routes include using Emerson Avenue, Thompson Road, Southport Road, Hickory Road, and of course those little side roads through the neighborhoods. But despite all of these delays, most Franklin Township drivers we spoke with say it's worth it in the long run.
A little bit of a burden on everything, people cutting through neighborhoods and that kind of thing. It's a little bit of an inconvenience, but we'll get through it like always.
So after these two roundabouts are done in August, two more will be built, one at the intersection of Franklin Road and Thompson Road, the other at the intersection of Arlington Avenue and Shelbyville Road. So for exact detour routes for these closures, just search the story on our website at theindychannel.com or our RTV6 app.
All right, Elena, thank you. Well, things got a bit more heated during round two of the Democratic presidential debate last night in Miami. As candidates fought for attention, speaking over one another, Senator Kamala Harris of California got this standout moment.
America does not want to witness a food fight. They want to know how we're going to put food on their table.
She also attacked frontrunner Joe Biden for his record on race. She challenged Biden for working with segregationist senators in the past and on his record on busing. Other big topics of the night: climate change, taxes, and immigration. We've got a new recall to let you know about this morning. Fisher-Price is recalling another inclined infant sleeper. This time it's the sleeper accessory that comes with their ultralight day and night play yards. Though no injuries or fatalities have been reported, they are pulling it because of safety concerns over such products. In April, the company recalled close to 5 million Rock-and-Play sleepers because they've been linked to over 30 deaths. If you have one of these at home, you can call the company to get a refund. It is 6:18, and Todd is here with a check of our warm Friday forecast.
Yeah, not only warm today, but we're going to carry this heat and a little bit of humidity over into the weekend as well. Beautiful sunrise taking place. Just some high, thin clouds out there. Way off in the distance, otherwise mostly sunny skies for most of us here across central Indiana. So you need the sunglasses this morning. It is a no-zone action day because temperatures are eventually going to get up close to 90 degrees. The wind is calm as well, so the air is going to be fairly stagnant. So those with some respiratory issues may have a few issues here as we get into the afternoon hours and really in the days ahead as well. So keep that in mind if you suffer from those conditions. 68 in Bloomington, 69 right now in Tipton, 70s the current temperature in Richmond, and 69 as you make your way into the Greensburg area. So throughout the day today, we'll warm really quickly with lots of sunshine here this morning. In fact, between 10 and 11 o'clock, we're probably pushing into the 80-degree temperature range already. And then as we work our way throughout the afternoon hours, 87 degrees by 2 p.m. Then we'll kind of plateau and keep the temperature in the upper 80s by 5 p.m. Some of you may climb up into the 90s, but I think more of us are probably in the 80s compared to the 90s. Either way, though, when you look at it, it is very warm. So now, obviously, it's important to know your own body and how you deal with heat. So here are your heat index forecasts as we go throughout the next few days. Today, tomorrow, and Sunday, heat index values are going to be up in that 95 to 96 degree range. So you're pushing into that caution area. If we saw temperatures climbing into the 90s or the humidity was a little higher, we'd probably be in extreme caution. But the humidity today, yes, you notice it, but it's not that big time tropical-like feel. And then those heat index values will drop off a little bit as we head into Monday and Tuesday of next week. So here are the clear skies we're enjoying this morning. A few speckles of green on there. You would think that's going to be some showers. That is just some feedback on the radar. The only rain we have in the vicinity of the Midwest are these storms up to our north in the Chicago area, Green Bay, Milwaukee. That's where they'll stay. So that is good news. So carry on with any plans you have here throughout the day today. Now tomorrow, this looks very similar to what I just showed you. Temperatures today and tomorrow not really going to differ all that much. We're talking about upper 80s to low 90s across the area with mostly sunny skies, maybe a little more humidity around tomorrow. And then as we work our way into Sunday's forecast, more of the same, starting in the 70s and going into the 90s. So our forecast is very consistent here going forward into the coming days. Want to jump ahead to you for the 4th of July here. I know this is a ways away next week, but we'll see starting maybe on Wednesday into Thursday, which is the 4th of July, some changes starting to occur, and that's unfortunately going to be bringing more storms back into the forecast, but of course that's a long ways away. Plenty of time to fine-tune the forecast. Our immediate concern is going to be the heat and humidity, so make sure you take the appropriate precautions with this heat around because it's not just a one-day deal. We're probably dealing with highs near 90 all the way through Tuesday. Elena.
All right, thank you, Todd. Here's a look over on the west side, I-465 at I-74. You can see traffic is flowing quite nicely for this hour. Usually there is a little bit more cars out there on the interstate, but you can see all is moving along just fine. Let's take a look at the map. We have this northbound I-65 closure between 465 and I-865. This has been underway for a few weeks, so if you typically go this way, you know the drill. You're going to want to take 465 northbound to 865 westbound. Now, the good news is this will wrap up hopefully by Monday, so you should be good to go next week for your morning drive and using this northbound 65. Let's take a look at the traffic flow for the rest of the map. So we have eastbound I-70 heading into the north split, a little bit yellow there, so might be a little bit of a slowdown, but for right now, other than that closure on the northwest side, your drive's looking pretty good.
Elena, thank you. In case you haven't heard, ABC's Shark Tank is coming to Indianapolis. You can pitch your idea to producers at an open call on July 16th at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Doors open at 6 a.m. For more information, head to theindychannel.com. If you're watching us right now, there's a good chance you're a morning person. The reason that early wake-up call could be beneficial to your health. Plus, it's the biggest Women's World Cup match in years. We're getting you ready for Team USA's matchup with World Cup host France. That's straight ahead.
The only name you need to know.
Are you a morning person? Well, if you're up watching us right now, there's a good chance that you are. And if you're a woman, that trait could put you at a lower risk for breast cancer. That's according to a study published just this week. Researchers found women who preferred to get out of bed early in the morning had a lower risk of breast cancer than those who stayed up late. However, doctors say improving sleeping patterns would not necessarily reduce the risk of breast cancer. They say the study doesn't shed light on what process causes sleep traits to affect breast cancer risk. This morning, we're getting ready for one of the biggest women's soccer matches in the last several years. Team USA is facing off with France in the quarterfinals of the World Cup. The winner of this afternoon's match will secure their spot in the semifinals. It will be a tough task for Team USA as they take on the host country of France. The Americans have only given up one goal in the first 4 games of the World Cup. They were able to get past Spain on Monday to secure their spot in the quarterfinals. Today's game against France is set to kick off at 3 o'clock in the afternoon in Paris. There's been plenty of heat and humidity this week in central Indiana, and that will continue today. Because of that, the city of Indianapolis just issued the first no-zone action day of the year for today. And you can help protect the air quality simply by riding a bike instead of driving a car. If you don't have one, don't worry. The Pacers Bike Share program will give you free access today. Officials say in the last 5 years, Pacers Bike Share has improved our local air quality by taking over 10 million pounds of carbon from our air. That's equivalent of taking about 95 cars off the road for a year. What an interesting stat there.
Yeah, you know, it's amazing when you think about it. And I'm a member of the Pacers Bike Share. Yeah. It's so convenient. You just take it where you have to go. You put it in the dock. You don't have to worry about getting a parking ticket or paying to park. And
you said you rode to Broad Ripple yesterday?
Saving the environment. Yeah, I did that on my own bike, not the Pacers
on your own bike. Okay, you got
on the Pacers Bike Share, but the Bike Share is expanding into Broad Ripple here later on this year and many other locations as well. So today, it's going to be a warm one out there. Temperatures will be climbing to near 90 degrees with some humidity and skies that'll be mostly sunny, and this will continue as we head into the weekend. We'll talk more about that forecast coming up in the next half hour here on Good Morning Indiana. Time now is 6:27. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Ways to save and get smart.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Being a teacher at a school and being fired should not be based on who you decide to be with at home, but rather the content of your character.
Will their voices bring change, or will the Archdiocese of Indianapolis stand by its firing of a Catholic school teacher over a same-sex relationship? A live report coming up. And history at risk on the north side. Alumni of one of the state's oldest schools are trying to save one of its buildings from the wrecking ball. Thanks for starting your Friday morning with us here on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Nicole Griffin. Meteorologist Todd Clausen here with some good news, a beautiful weekend forecast.
Yeah, you know, finally, we went back and we looked. The first weekend in June, we didn't have any precipitation, but outside of that weekend, we had rain or snow on one of the 2 days, Saturday or Sunday, going all the way back to the beginning of February. So we are due for a nice weekend here across the area, and we're shaping up to have a pretty warm one here, and with high temperatures that will be in the 90s. Here's a view from IMS, and I think this camera is probably outdated. That looks like yesterday afternoon, so I'll need to refresh that. But otherwise, it would show a nice sunrise taking place across the area. Temperatures in the 60s and 70s right now. 70 currently in Indianapolis, 68 in Bloomington, 67 is the current temperature in Lafayette, and Richmond's right around 70 degrees. Skies are mainly clear this morning, and as a result, Storm Team 6 radar is quiet. If you pull up your app or you look here on Storm Team 6 radar and you see a little bit of green, that's just some feedback that's out there here this morning. There is no rain to be found across central Indiana. To the north, there's this line of storms. That's where that should stay. It should start to weaken here as it drops down to the south. So carry on with your outdoor plans. Today, we're looking at lots of sunshine. 83 degrees already by the noon hour. Gets warm really quick with a high temperature, Elena, eventually getting up to 89 degrees.
All right, thank you, Todd. Up on our northwest side, we have those I-65 closures between 465, I-865 to get around. To take 465 northbound to 865. 465 westbound. In terms of traffic flow, pretty much everywhere is moving along just fine, except for that northwest side. Let's take a look at the roads right now. Over on our east side, 465 at I-70, you can see traffic's flowing along, and the roads are dry for your morning drive. It's light out now, so if you're heading out the door, should be a breeze.
Elena, thank you. A live look now at downtown Indianapolis this morning. Today is a no-zone action day for 20 Indiana counties, including here in the metro. The hot weather expected today could lead to air quality issues for some people. And because of this, you are asked to take steps to help the environment, like limiting the time in that your vehicle is idling. You could also use active forms of transportation when possible, like biking and walking. The Pacers Bike Share is offering free 30-minute trips today. Taking the city bus is also a good alternative. And remember, fill up your gas tanks and mow your yard after 7 p.m. Students and community members hope to learn today if their demonstration at the Archdiocese of Indianapolis has made a difference. Cathedral High School fired a teacher earlier this month because of his same-sex marriage. Our Alyssa Donovan is live this morning. Alyssa, what were those out there doing that demonstration, hoping to gain from that peaceful protest?
So, Nicole, these supporters were hoping to implement some change within the church. They want them to change the mandates that are regarding those Catholic school employees to ensure something like this does not happen again in the future. Now, there were dozens of students and Cathedral High School alumni gathered for a prayer circle to pray for the teacher who lost his job and to protest the Archdiocese's decision to force the firing. The Archdiocese has known about the same-sex marriage of a Cathedral teacher for 2 years. Cathedral announced the firing just days after the Archdiocese announced it's cutting ties with Brebeuf High School for refusing to fire a teacher who's married to a man. The Archbishop defended the decisions, saying the teachers violated contracts which require them to follow church doctrine.
When someone is not living according to church teaching, as Archbishop Thompson explained, we do try to walk with them. We try to give them the information that they need in terms of the church teaching, and then also the spiritual guidance and direction, as well as opportunities to rectify their personal situation.
Now, 2 Roncalli High School counselors also filed complaints with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, saying their jobs were put in jeopardy because of their same-sex marriage. Now, church leaders do say the cases at all of these schools could have been avoided if those teachers had not been in a civil union. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. We have comprehensive coverage of this developing debate. It's up right now on the RTV6 app and the IndyChannel.com. That includes everything Archbishop Thompson said Thursday, along with all of our past stories, so you can gain even more perspective on this issue. We have new information just into our newsroom surrounding a late-night fire on the city's east side. The fire started just after 10:30 last night on a building on Redskin Lane. That's in the Stony Brook Commons apartment complex. When firefighters arrived, they found smoke and fire coming from the back of the building. We're told 23 people were forced out of their homes. 1 person was taken to the hospital with a minor injury. The cause of the fire remains under investigation. The investigation continues this morning into a southern Indiana crash that killed 4 people. The crash happened on Highway 58 south of Elnora in Davies County. The sheriff's department says 2 adults and 2 children died in the crash. The victims have not been identified as of this morning. Investigators will work today to determine the cause of this crash. A special prosecutor will oversee a case involving the assistant chief of police of the Brazil Police Department. Dennis Archer was arrested last weekend on a drunk driving charge. Police say Archer was originally stopped for an unsafe lane movement. Earlier this week, Brazil Mayor Brian Windham told reporters Archer would keep his job. Last-ditch efforts are underway to save a more than 100-year-old landmark on the north side of Indianapolis. The state plans to demolish Simpson Hall on the campus of the Indiana School for the Deaf off of 42nd Street. It was built in 1911 and served as a dorm for female students, but it's sat empty for the past 30 years. Experts say it would take $15 to $20 million worth of rehab work to get the building in shape. Former students and advocates say the building is worth saving.
There's a lot of valuable memories there. That building helps the deaf community it's part of our identity and our development of who we are, and it's like a sister to us. Simpson Hall is unrivaled in its construction and the way that it was built and how it looks. So to see something of that stature be torn down is really just a huge loss for the deaf community, the Indianapolis community as a whole, and just as an architecture community as well.
The state owns the building. The Indiana Landmarks Foundation tells RTV6 the state was looking to demolish the building sometime this summer. The debates are done for now. The Democrats who want to challenge President Trump. 10 more Democratic candidates took the stage in Miami last night, including South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg. Buttigieg has been off the campaign for the most part over the last 2 weeks, ever since a black man, Eric Logan, was shot and killed by a white South Bend police officer. The mayor says he is determined to see the investigation through and to work for a time when no city will have to endure similar pain.
And I am determined to bring about a day when a white person driving a vehicle and a black person driving a vehicle, when they see a police officer approaching, feels the exact same thing, a feeling not of fear, but of safety. I am determined to bring that day about.
Buttigieg is calling for an outside investigation into the shooting, as well as a civil rights investigation from the Justice Department. It is now 6:38. Let's get over to Todd. Todd, a good day to take the dogs outside.
Yeah, make sure your dogs have plenty of water and you stay hydrated as well as you just walk out the door. You're walking out to temperatures that are in the 60s and 70s this morning, and Gilly has the right idea. He has the water ball right around his paws here, and thanks to Amy for sending Gilly in to us here this morning. And here is your forecast going forward throughout the day today. Lots of sunshine and high temperatures that will eventually climb up into the upper 80s to right around 90 degrees. So it's kind of important to talk about hot temperatures in cars, not only for your pets, but obviously you don't want to stay in the car yourself very, very long. So with a temperature right around 90 degrees, after 10 minutes of 90-degree temperature with a closed car, all the windows up, it's going to feel like 109 degrees. 20 minutes later, 119. And obviously these are very, very dangerous temperatures for you and your pets. So again, do not leave anything in your car, even with the windows cracked a smidge. It's going to be very, very warm and dangerous. So keep that in mind as our temperatures will stay near 90 degrees here for the next few days.
Todd, thank you. Next on Good Morning Indiana, it's Good News Friday with a twist. It isn't entirely good news because we are losing a beloved member of the RTV6 family. But we look back at a time when he helped bring good news to a man who desperately needed some. And with the summer officially here, what better way to celebrate than with a trip to Holiday World? Just ahead here on Good Morning Indiana, we have your chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to Holiday World and Splash and Safari. It's 6:40. You're watching Good Morning Indiana. Stay with us.
Name you need to know at Martin.com.
It is time for Good News Friday, but today we are doing something a little different since it is a special day for us here at RTV6. Today is the last day on the job for a legend as Derek Thomas retires following 40 years of excellence. So today we wanted to bring you a time when Derek brought some good news to a man he interviewed for a story. As part of our 70th anniversary celebration this year, Derek told us the story of the time he was interviewing some men who were unemployed in the early 1980s. That's when one of them said something Derek would never forget.
There were a bunch of guys there, and I started asking them questions about, and they said they didn't have any jobs. And the one guy said to me, I went to Vietnam, and I learned how to kill, but there are no jobs for killers. And I always remember that quote from him. There are no jobs for killers.
They took us away from our homes. Like, I'd never seen no real guns before I went in the military. They taught me to kill, 51 different ways to kill a man with my hands, and I don't know how many different weapons I was taught to use. But after I came back from Vietnam, there is no market here for killers. The only market that's here is programmers, operators, and various computer jobs and clerks. But we got to be retrained for that. We hang up here every day. We don't want to be here. Where else can we be?
After I aired this story, people called the station and they said that they would give this gentleman a job. And they gave him a job. I told him about that, and he was so grateful. And I felt that putting his story out on the airwaves was what we should do as journalists. That was immediate gratification of a story about unemployment and a guy who had served his country and had learned one thing and finally got a job that he needed.
What a wonderful story there. Well, don't forget, tonight on the news at 6, we'll look back at Derek Thomas's incredible career, and Derek will have one final message for you as well. That's tonight at 6 o'clock. And Todd, we are really going to miss him here at RTV6.
Sad day. Every time I walk into the meeting in the morning, I say, "What's up, DT?" That's what I always call him. So I'm certainly going to miss that and his great storytelling as well. All right, let's talk about your weather headlines here going forward. We're close to 90 degrees today. We haven't hit that 90-degree mark so far this year, so we're a little behind schedule on that, but several opportunities here. If we don't get there today, we will have the potential throughout the weekend and next week, as it's going to start off with the warm conditions, and there's some small storm chances just with this heat and humidity that's going to be around. It's not another question. All through the weekend we could flare up an isolated downpour here or there across the area, but there's nothing organized or widespread that's going to come through, so that is good news. So if you do have outdoor plans, camping wise, or heading to a pool or a lake this weekend, you're in great shape. Here's the view from downtown to the north right now. 70 degrees is the current temperature outside right now. The wind is calm. The dew point's in the mid-60s. That's a little uncomfortable, but here's the good news. That dew point doesn't really move throughout the day today. It's going to hold pretty steady, so the humidity doesn't climb throughout the day today. The temperatures will climb, and that'll put heat index values in the low 90s, but we don't really get into that real tropical-like feel with the humidity. So that is at least good news with the